One of the core attributes of the metaverse is that it offers unprecedented interoperability of digital items and assets. In other words, you can use your Counter-Strike gun skin to decorate a gun in Fortnite. NFTs offer unprecedented interoperability of data, digital items and assets, content, and so on across each of these experiences. Your Counter-Strike gun skin, for example, could also be used to decorate a gun in Fortnite or be gifted to a friend on or through Facebook. Similarly, a car designed for Rocket League or even for Porsche's website could be brought over to work in Roblox. Today, the digital world basically acts as though it was a mall, where every store used its own currency, required proprietary ID cards, had proprietary units of measurement for things like shoes or calories, and different dress codes, etc. This quote above was written by Matthew Ball, a metaverse fanatic and venture capitalist who has no idea how video games work. Now, it's my turn to explain how NFTs in gaming actually work from the perspective of someone with a bit of game development experience. A non-fungible token, or NFT, is a unique digital identifier that cannot be copied, substituted, or subdivided that is recorded in a blockchain, and that is used to certify authenticity and ownership. The ownership of an NFT is recorded in the blockchain and can be transferred by the owner, allowing NFTs to be sold and traded. NFTs can be created by anybody and require few or no coding skills to create. NFTs typically contain references to digital files such as photos, videos, and audio. Because NFTs are uniquely identifiable assets, they differ from cryptocurrencies, which are fungible. The most important part of this is that NFTs are not digital files themselves. They can only contain references to other digital files. NFTs on any blockchain are not designed for data storage. The blockchain is simply a ledger. Each NFT is only capable of storing a few lines of text, as the gas fees to transfer even 1 gigabyte of data using the blockchain would easily be hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because of this limitation, the way that a game would use an NFT is limited to reading the text inside of the NFT. And because the amount of text available is rather limited, you would not be writing code inside of the NFT. Instead, what you would do is have a very basic comma-delimited table structure, listing the stats of an item, for example. So in this example here, you can see we have a weapon name, a weapon class, the weapon damage, the amount of ammo that the weapon can hold, and a link to the model for this weapon, which is stored on a database completely separate from the blockchain. So for this basic example, the way that it would work in a game is as follows. The game would have code that first looks at the user's wallet, then looks at the NFTs, then assigns the appropriate items to the player in the game based on what the game found in their wallet. In theory, the game would then apply stats to the in-game weapon appropriate to what the NFT says, but there's nothing mandating that the developer actually do that. They could at any point decide that they want to just ignore the data in the NFT and replace it with something else, since the developers have complete control over how their game interprets the NFTs. But the stats in the NFT wouldn't make any sense in a different game. What if the maximum health for a player in Fortnite is 100, but in Counter-Strike it's 1,000? The gun would be horribly underpowered in Counter-Strike, and so the developers would need to have code to override what the NFT says to make the gun useful. This defeats the purpose of using the NFT to actually transmit data, since the data doesn't matter at all, especially since the NFT doesn't even contain the model or texture, only a link to a file server where you can download it. Adding NFTs in this situation is just creating an extra step for the sole purpose of giving NFTs a use case. And most importantly, because NFTs are immutable, they can never be modified. If a change needs to be made to the asset, like in a balance update, they must give everyone a new copy of the NFT with the change applied, and then stop accepting the old NFT. As a way to justify this immutability, we've seen games that simply just promise to never balance NFT items. This is a horrible idea from a balance and quality of gameplay perspective. An online game's meta is constantly evolving, with new items releasing and players discovering new exploits using old items. By creating an artificial barrier to balancing your game just to justify using NFTs, you're making it worse for everyone, as balancing the game will very quickly become difficult. Vitalik Buterin created Ethereum because he cried himself to sleep after Blizzard nerfed the Warlock class ability Siphon Life in World of Warcraft patch 3.1. This made him realize the horrors of centralization, he says. Anyway, returning from that tangent, the entire concept falls apart at the base when you consider one simple fact. Games do not share the same engine, coding language, or even file formats. Fortnite runs on Unreal Engine, and Counter-Strike runs on the Source engine. Because of the difference in game engines, you need to use different file formats for models, textures, and sounds. And even within the same game engine, things can still be different. Like, for example, are the developers using a Unity scale of 5 units for one real-world meter, or 10 units for one real-world meter? The NFT can't provide any information to help with this issue. This relies on the developers interpreting the NFTs differently. Because of this, the game developers need to create custom versions of every NFT model or skin to work for their specific game. They can't just grab the NFT and it magically works. It's nowhere near that simple. To add yet another issue to this claim, there's no financial incentive for a game developer to even allow NFTs from another game. It's not going to increase their revenue. Let's say that I spent $500 on Fortnite NFTs to get the most OP and coolest guns and skins in the game. But now I'm done playing Fortnite. I want to play Counter-Strike. Well, I can just load my NFT guns into Counter-Strike and start playing with an advantage right out the gate, having never given a cent to the Counter-Strike development team. Not to mention that the Counter-Strike dev team had to do a lot of work programming their games to accept this NFT, which costs them money. While one common argument is that the developers could potentially collect a fee when these items are used in their games, it's certainly not enough of an incentive to allow this system to exist. They keep 100% of the in-game purchase revenue today. Why would they want to switch to a system where they collect a 3% fee? They would never be able to recoup the cost spent rebuilding all of these assets to work for their game engine. But wait, there's yet another issue. Fortnite and Counter-Strike both want to protect their intellectual property, obviously. So because of this, they would never allow unauthorized use of their assets in another game. That would be a legal nightmare. So this entire system ultimately relies on the development of an agreement between the developers, which, you guessed it, are centralized. So the entire decentralized system only works because centralized developers have agreed to accept it. As soon as they change their mind, no matter how decentralized your blockchain is, they can just decide tomorrow to stop accepting it. Let's say the developers want to coordinate. They're willing to go through the work to model every single Fortnite gun and skin in a source engine compatible format and to balance them for use in CSGO. Why even bring in the blockchain at this point? This is already a completely centralized situation with the developers deciding whether or not they want to create the items in their game, so adding the blockchain just complicates things for no reason. It would be much simpler to just use the game's already existing API system and account linking features to do this. The only thing that NFTs add here is a layer of confusion, as the players would need to understand how to create and operate a crypto wallet and make all in-game purchases via crypto instead of their local currency. And going by our previous experience with games in this series, none of these games have given us any sort of tutorial on how to use a crypto wallet. What's more likely to happen is the players would just get confused, Google some answers, find a scam website, and then lose their money and get no items. But few understand, I guess.